Hello and welcome. It is the 9th day of May 2017. My name is Derek and welcome. Let's take a look at the silver daily chart as well as the Bitcoin one. And I don't know if this has ever happened where we've had this many down days in this type of period. The only up day since this top is this green period in here. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11. That's like 13 or 14 down in a row as well. 13 maybe. That's quite large. And I'm not counting this current one as a down day, at least not yet. And this situation is pretty interesting because this Fibonacci support, the 23.6 number, which translates to 76.4 down, has been supporting for resisting for the fourth day, but we noticed the last 3 days, the downtrend line, and today it's resisting that line, now barely breaking through this level. It looks sure as much as a huge probability that it's going to come down to this previous low. It could take, when I look at this chart pattern, it could take days, weeks, minutes, or seconds. It wouldn't surprise me if a 20-ish% down day were to come on the horizons over any period now, because that's when it happens, is when you start off a trend something like this. It's already lost over 15% since this high, or around that area, maybe 12, 13% from the 18.5 target mark. Now let's move this on to Bitcoin, which it's now 106 to 1 ratio. You can easily buy 10 ounce bars with a Bitcoin and even get more on top. The gold ratio coming closer to 1.5. Okay. So this target number, I've talked about it since April, early April even, and it is now in play. So now what? With a question mark. And I call these now what situations. When you get to these key points that you're supposed to, now what are you going to do? This is a spot where I think sell orders are how I play the market gain. Up levels is where I sell. Down targets is where I buy. I'll talk about my buy orders from yesterday after this in a little while, but I would normally sell here, looking to buy here, and looking to buy in here. Now, I don't think that it's going to come down to this point yet. And I think that in the near term, if there is going to be any support, roughly in the area in here. Now, as far as this yellow cursor is concerned, I think it's easier to have it and say, yeah, back in here, and I don't have to draw the line, and down here. And you know where I'm talking about because you can follow it. But if I don't have it on and I just move my mouse and I say back here, you're like, back where? So I think it's probably better to have something like this. Oh yeah, this bottom to this high. You know what I'm talking about. So as far as the not yet's concerned, with the level in here, it wouldn't surprise me if I see Bitcoin lose about half of its value, maybe even 33, 40% of its value very soon after its next move is completed, or this move is completed, because it's interesting how well the webbot has been, and it wouldn't surprise me if this area is light resistance, where the best you're going to get is maybe a pullback to maybe the high 1500s area, and that's the best you're going to get, and this thing is just going to shoot past, and it's going to be just like we've been seeing a resumption of what April has been, or the later part of April into May, where the price action just keeps going up without any test of this 18 average. And quite frankly, it might even have light test of it, but with the rising steady 18 average going higher. If that were to happen, a move to 2300, well, it's just inevitable you're going to have a big fall, because you're going to have a lot of different groups of profit takers who are going to be getting out of Bitcoin, and I'll be one of them. And that's just going to make the natural progression of the market head lower, where if I see, say, and oh, by the way, May 20th, May 30th, Bitcoin's at 24.95 or 25.50. some number well into the 2000s. And then boom, next thing you know, we have June month where it goes from 2540 down to say 1500 or 1400. That would not surprise me. But for now, it's all about where are we going to go from here, and any type of momentum holding well above 1820, 1840 for about at least many hours, half a day, 3/4 of a day, holding and staying above here, sort of like you could see how it did it in this point, probably would be very, very bullish for this thing to keep on going. After all, I stated breaking, I think, in the here you really didn't want to sell too much. I think it was in the 1400s and 1300s you didn't want to sell. Yesterday I stated this thing really looks like it wants to test up to this point, and it has. So I've actually thought I've done pretty darn near well, better than well, with a lot of the stuff that I've talked about on here. And even yesterday I talked about just a bunch of buy orders. I was looking at like almost every code that I could to try to find where can I fish for a bottom, as I call it. What's the most likely level where it's probably not going to penetrate much more lower, at least probably go higher quick after such. Well, Dash got down to its level, and it's up over 25% since its bottom. Pascal, or whatever you call that coin, it's up about 6% since its buy number, and Ethereum up about 15% from its level. So I got 3 of them in. Happy that that was the case. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Take care. Bye-bye.